Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin and Rugby podcast. Joining me this week is someone back for cap number 49. Welcome back to Mr. Rich Smith Sood.
Getting near my half century. Good evening, Jeff.
That's
Great to
it.
be back.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. We'll do a special one on your next pod. So let's turn our attention now to our feature match of the week. Here's first a generic 80-word summary of how things went. Leinster overcame a spirited Bayonne in wet Basque conditions to secure top spot in Pool 3. Bayonne struck early and led 10-3 at half-time, while Leinster struggled to finish chances and lost Tadhg Furlong to injury. A Dan Sheehan try levelled the game before Joris Segon edged Bayonne yet again ahead. Sam Prendergast's sharp finish finally put Leinster in front, and Max Deegan sealed victory late on. The win guarantees Leinster a home round of 16 tie. Now, obviously, we're going to go into a bit more detail than that, but to kick things off, I think, Rich, we want to have a look at one of the key aspects of this game where Leinster maybe struggled, which was in the kicking game.
Yeah, very much so. I, I thought Bayonne, up until the very latter stages of the match, when we switched tactics and we went to the short kicking game, which paid dividends in the end for us. But that was pretty much the last 10 to 15 minutes of the match. But prior to that, I thought Bayonne had us on the ropes in the kicking battle. They were forever getting the upper hand. Um, they kicked very intelligently. Seconds had a cracking match from the kickoff. It was pretty evident where they were going. Their up and unders were on the money. His kick, with thankfully, with the exception of the penalty that would have taken them 6 points clear, which was arguably easier than the one he did convert minutes earlier to go 13-10 up. Apart from that, he had a flawless match. He really played well. Uh, great servant for the club. I understand. I think he's moving on to another club, but in France. But yeah, he certainly pegged us back. The management of territory, the management of where they played their rugby, um, both him and obviously with Yankees as well, as his sidekick. But the kick battle was one of the issues where we were very much second best. And I just wanted to highlight a statistic because that was the sense I got yesterday. But as you know, when you have a rewatch, you watch it without the nerves and frustration and everything else. So it's a bit clearer when you watch it. But in this particular case, I had the impression yesterday that whenever there was a contestable kick, we were very much second best. So today I made it a point on rewatch to actually keeping a tally of the contestable kicks. There was a total of 10 contestable kicks in the match. They won eight and got three penalties from those eight. We only got two. Um, so that tells its own story because obviously, as we know, contestable kicks give you territory, give you possession, and they can be a very effective weapon in attack. But yesterday we were terrible, really bad. Whereas this has been one of our strengths in the past. Can you argue that? Well, I mean, the conditions were pretty bad, but they were pretty bad for both sides. And if you go to the Basque country, playing in the rain is normal. If you play in Ireland, playing in the rain is pretty normal as well. So it shouldn't have affected both sides. There shouldn't have been an advantage uh, for Bayonne in that on that score. So. Was it the conditions? Was it the fact that Jimmy was back for his first match? And I actually thought he did pretty well given the circumstances and his first match back after injury. Are we missing Hugo so very much? Who's dominating the airways? Uh, could our kicking have been better? Yes, it could have been better. I mean, some of those contestables were kicked just that bit too far, where our players couldn't get to it in you know, with the ability to properly compete. and gave away penalties. Like Tommy O'Brien gave a pen away when he because of the length of the kick, he just couldn't control his um, um, his jump. These things happen. So I thought that by and large the Bayonne kicking game was pretty astute. They dinked a couple over the top in our rush defense. It didn't really pay dividends for them, to be perfectly honest. But that option is always there with us. Because we charge up off the line. There's always the possibility of the dink over the top. And of course, we all know what happens with the bounce of a rugby ball. We had the negative effects of that, and thankfully the positive effects of that later on in the match. So yeah, I thought that that kicking, and obviously we'll go into it a little later, as well as their ability to slow down our ball at the breakdown, were key elements in the match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about how Leinster have had to come from behind in so many matches this season, and that in itself is a trend, and we're going to talk more about that later. But there does seem to be the circumstances do seem to be different in every game with the different opposition, and like you say, in this case, you said literally from the kickoff, and really mean from the kickoff, because Segons was getting incredible hang time, even off the very kick, the very first kick of the game. I noticed it came down, and it could have easily had snow in it. There were literally avalanches warnings in the area that
Yeah.
weekend, but it was an amazing hang time. It's just what you want, and they were able to chase them down, and so that helped them. That helped them get up the pitch when they needed to. But on the other hand, we normally rely on that. We rely on Gibson Park, and it's maybe one of the reasons why we'd be more inclined to start Sam, because he's more known for that kind of kicking game. But Harry can do it too. But it's just both halfbacks like you say, it was just going that little bit too far. In fact, that whole first half, we were saying at halftime in our WhatsApp group, we were saying how it was always 1 or 2%. Everything we were doing, the kicks were just that a little bit too far. And then the kicks to that we had these kick pass moves, which I like, because otherwise we were doing it early in sets when the defense is set to hold us down, and you don't want to end up in a black hole like 25 phases where you're almost guaranteed to lose it. We were going for the corners, and it was just missing Tommy over here, it was just missing Kenny over there. He was just getting his hand to it, and like you say, if they'd stuck, it would have been a different kind of first half. But still, when you compare that to what was happening on the other side, and you had situations where also we were chasing our own kicks a little bit too eager, giving away a couple of penalties with tackles there, and spoiling good attacking situations. So, I mean, when it comes to that key area of the game, which is one that we expect to win, we were definitely second best when it came to the kicking game.
Yeah, very much so, Jeff. It's traditionally a strength of ours. Yet yesterday it was just for whatever reason, or whatever, and as usual, there will be more than one reason. But for whatever reasons, just weren't on the money. I mean, to be fair, that needs to be counterbalanced with, and I alluded to this earlier. Um, the and this was certainly a positive from my perspective. The we eventually we ended up with two halfbacks with two fly halves on the pitch through force of circumstance. But as I've said offline, we always look infinitely better with a second playmaker in place. It's been Frawley, but he was injured. So yesterday, through fault of circumstance, we ended up with Sam coming on and Harry remaining in the fly half position. So, and we look very much so. The positive I wanted to highlight was the fact that they sussed out that and it took a very long time for us to suss it out, that the slowing down of the breakdown ball was pretty much killing us. We weren't making meters. We were running into brick walls. We were running into black holes, as you mentioned earlier. And then as soon as Sam came on, the both halfbacks seemed to click and probably had a chat on the pitch and thought, look, whenever we come up to a certain situation like this, let's just dink it forward, through the lines, and let's see what comes of it.